Okay, so in just a few short words, why did you think it was your responsibility? What made you want to run for commissioner?
I have been watching what's been happening for the last couple of decades, and I see things that need to be addressed, and that's roads between Midland and Odessa, the infrastructure for roads, and water is coming in. In 10 years, Midland and Odessa are going to be one city, and we need to develop a plan that puts in the water and the roads and ordinances, so that when it becomes one city, it's all set up, and the counties and the cities and the state can be involved in this process, so that just the city of Midland or the county of Midland or the city of Odessa or the county of Odessa of Ector is not having to bear just their part of the costs. By working together, we are able to save taxpayers dollars, and by having a plan, it will be put in a much better way that you don't have to, like for instance, the county puts in a road, and then the city expands further west. So then they're needing to have to put water in. So then you have to tear up a road to put in water. So if we have a plan, then we're able to, again, combine our resources, combine our thoughts and talents, and then put in something that works really well, saving taxpayers money. And so I want to address that, and I want to address the issue at the Horseshoe on the contract. It renews in 2023, and we need a new contract, management contract. That contract needs to be bid out. They need to look at things where the county is able to use the facility without having to rent it. So if you're trying to do a training for the sheriff's department or for any other county entity, you have to rent it. And those great classrooms, if you will, are just sitting there during the week. Nobody's using them, and we should be able to use that facility. It's a great facility.
So aside from that, would you say that there's a loss, a good loss of revenue possibilities there with those rooms empty during the week? Well, is it about revenue, or is it about just management in general?
It's about revenue where it goes to concessions. The concessions, if you buy a beer for $8, and that's how much they are, the county gets 10%, which is 80 cents. The vendor gets $1.20, and the management company gets $5. Broken down, it's the county gets 10%, and the management company gets 90% net. So that needs to be changed. Why is the county giving away so much to a management company? And as far as classrooms, well, if the county's being able to use them without having to pay rent, it's not a revenue thing. And there's also other problems with the contract that need to be addressed that will make it perhaps more palatable for nonprofits to be able to rent it, because there are some added expenses that go in after you lease it, and it just gets too expensive for them to use. We need to really look at that closely and work with a management company. Find somebody that can manage it, that would be more friendly about the companies that are trying to use it.
Who selects the management company?
Well, I wasn't there when it happened, but it was the county judge and the commissioner's court. But this contract was extended prior to 2018 for 5 years. So it was that commissioner's court and county judge that did that contract. So nothing's been done on it for 5 years.
So whoever is sitting in these positions come 2023 will make that decision.
That's right. They will have the responsibility of making sure that we have a good contract that favors the county, not the management company.
Well, I know in the the debates that I was fortunate to host, and just in past just dealings, there is a lot of talk back and forth between the Horseshoe operating in the red or the Horseshoe operating in the black. Your stance on that?
In the red. And the county auditor provided us with a 10-year P&L that shows the county lost money 6 out of the last 7 years. It's losing money. The Horseshoe gets 1% of hotel motel tax. And thank goodness for that, because it's designated for the Horseshoe, because that has kept it from losing even more millions of dollars. That has rescued it.
So, okay, we've touched on roads, we've touched on the Horseshoe. Another major issue that's been going on in the county is water.
Right.
Your stance on that?
And that's why I said that we need to work to do water and roads at the same time. Develop a plan as we develop West Midland. So Precinct 4 is west of Garfield all the way to Ector County and north of Cuthbert all the way to Andrews County. So that whole corridor is just growing exponentially. And it needs to be addressed with a plan instead of just saying, well, a developer comes in, they want to put in a housing development, you got to get water out there, you got to get, and then the city extends another 3 miles, there's the extraterrestrial jurisdiction, and it moves it out. The same thing's happening in Odessa as developers come. We're almost meeting as far as the two cities. And so it's going to be a city, therefore there's a lot of benefit for the city and the counties to work together along with the state, because 1788, 158, those are state roads, and we just need to come up with a plan for all of that. So we're not doing a little bit here, a little bit there. Somebody's doing one thing, somebody's doing something else.
A lot of people forget or just don't realize that Midland County stretches out as far as Odessa does.
It encompasses Mission Dorado and Gardendale. All of those are part of Midland County.
So as Commissioner for Midland County, what would you do to make those parts of the county that are in Odessa feel more a part?
That's a great question, Victor. They need to know that Midland County cares about what is happening in their communities. And I know that it's been about 5 or 6 years where they wanted to put a library in Mission Dorado, and they asked Midland County for assistance. I don't know the details on there, but if they're needing our ear, the Midland County's ear, to be heard about what the needs are, I think it's critical that we spend some time, listen, and try to see how we can help, how Midland County can help Mission Dorado, which is Midland County.
Now, you are looking to unseat the current commissioner.
Correct.
Randy Prude has been in office for many, many years.
Quarter of a century, Victor. Well, 24 years.
Yeah. There was some discussion at the debate about, he hasn't been the most available commissioner to his constituents. You've actually fielded some phone calls to that effect.
That's correct. I have, and I'm getting a lot of support as I walk blocks, because I have been walking blocks for a month. I've knocked on over 2,000 doors. Doesn't even cover maybe even not even 10% of how many doors there are in Precinct 4 to knock on. But I asked them what they would like for me to understand and know and work on and focus on. And they just said, be there, be available, return phone calls, be accessible, work with us. And that's what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to walk blocks to get people to know me, to show that I'm willing to work really hard to serve the people of Midland County.
If you get elected on Tuesday, what will you do not only with your fellow commissioners, but with city management to improve the way of life in Midland and Midland County?
Collaboration. We start talking, we start planning, we start seeing what funds are available in one area, what is more critical, first steps. Everything's going to have to be done in phases. So you start developing a plan, and that's the first thing that has to happen. We need to work with not only the cities, the counties, the state, but community developers, people that are trying to put in developments and see what needs to happen. Work with them, start teaming up.
Now, Greenwood seems to get left out a lot, or they feel they get left out a lot. How would you address the situation going on in Greenwood in that area?
I think the same thing. It's talking to them, listening to them, collaboration, and that's Precinct 2. And I know that some of the commissioners have worked together on the roads for the eastern part, southern, and the northern part, and they're working together. And I think that commissioners need to work together. But I also know that each one of those commissioners have spent a lot of time just addressing their roads issues, and I know that that's going to continue for those two precincts, and that's what needs to happen in Precinct 4. We need to have a commissioner that's out there working and checking to see what we can do to improve the roads there.
Okay, going back to Commissioner Prude, do you think there should be term limits for county offices?
Well,
I know
actually,
it takes a lot of work to make that happen, but
yeah,
given
I
the
do.
current situation.
I absolutely do, and but that's a state thing. So that can't happen at the local level. We can't, as a county, say, okay, we're going to have term limits. We can't do that. But I think that serving 24 years is a long time, especially if the community, if residents are feeling like they're not being listened to, phone calls being returned, worked with. So if you have a dynamo, I guess you keep the dynamo in, but when they're not dynamic, you need to replace them.
Okay. Anything, last thing you want to address, point out, or just something I didn't ask you that you want to put out there?
Well, I just want people to know that I will serve with integrity and sincerity, and I will work hard. I will return their phone calls. I'll make myself available. I'll be transparent. That's another thing that needs to happen, is transparency. So I just need for them to know that if they vote for me, they will get somebody that's going to work really hard to represent them.